This video features one of my favorite openings of all time, the Bowdler attack against the Sicilian defense. In the Bowdler attack, we intend to play in the style of the Italian game, putting our light squad bishop on c4, targeting the weak f7 square. While many Sicilian experts think this is an old school opening, which is outdated, I still believe in it, because chess is not just about openings, you guys, if you think about it. For example, after the top played move pawn to e6, making this bishop look useless, the idea is to go queen e2. If you don't play queen e2, maybe the Bowdler becomes useless. Why playing queen e2? You are just stopping black from pushing their pawn to d5, because you're going to take with your pawn. For example, if pawn to d5, you can just take, and black can't take back with their pawn because it is pinned to the king. That's the whole idea of playing queen e2. And in this position, you're going to see most of your opponents playing knight c6, just like I covered in my first tutorial video. With knight c6, they intend to play knight d4, attacking your queen. So the best you can do is to go knight f3 to stop that, so that if knight d4 is played, you just get rid of that devil. So they will play something like knight f6 anyways, because what else do they know? By the way, if a6, you just go a4 to stop b5. So those are just sidelines, not to worry about. I think what I recommended here was to play knight c3, just beginning with your two knights, defending your e4 pawn in advance. You're going to play d3, give it a chance. Put your light squad bishop on b3, play a3 maybe, or f4. And most importantly, you're going to be developing your dark squad bishop on e3, not on f4. With knight c3, see how black can't play the move pawn to d5 still because of pawn takes. They're just going to lose a piece at worst, like this, or taking back with a bishop. You can see black can't take back because the pawn is pinned. So maybe the move you're going to see them playing from time to time is bishop e7, or probably pawn to d6. And this is where you want to play d3 and continue with whatever I showed you at first. Just play a normal game. Or if you want to surprise your opponent, wait for them to develop their dark squad bishop before playing pawn to b4, the Shabalov attack move. For example, after d3 and bishop e7, since the dark squad bishop is no longer guarding the g7 pawn, this is when you want to indirectly attack it with your rook to g1 after pawn to g4. So you're just sacrificing a pawn so that you go rook g1 next. Oh, can't they play h5? Yep, but you have pawn to h3. And after knight f6, that's when you take on g7. Or in this particular position, you just go pawn to e5 because there is no d5, by the way, due to takes. You're going to be up a piece, so black may be forced to take back, after which you can take on e5 or on g7, or probably go bishop b5, pinning this knight to the king first before taking. Bishop d7, you get rid of that knight, and after bishop takes, that's when you take on g7 or on e5. So you're doing all this just to disturb your opponent's plans, making the game more tactical than expected. And before I proceed, this video is sponsored by all of our paid members on Patreon. These are the guys who support Casper Chess financially. In return, we give them extra study materials and other premium content on Patreon to thank them in style. Not to mention that all of our patrons are at liberty to make video requests and ask any chess related questions. You can join free membership and pay later if you want through the link in the comment section down below. Now, let's continue. Right, so here we have a game, e4. And there we see the Sicilian defense. So what am I going to do here? I think I'm going to play... Oh, wait a second. Can I play the Bowdler attack? It's been a while. So let me try this. For those who don't know, the Bowdler attack is where you just put your bishop on c4 and then your queen on e2. This is my own strategy, by the way, which I covered in the video that has popped up in the card above. Bishop c4. So we intend to play in the style of the... I wanted to say the Italian game. In the style of the Italian game. But my opponent has kind of transposed this back to the French with pawn to e6. So right now I'm attacking nothing on f7. But thanks to the move queen e2, which prevents black from playing pawn to d5, if you think about it, due to pawn takes, and the e6 pawn will be pinned to the king. With a6, I guess my opponent wants to play pawn to b5 to chase my light squad bishop away. To hell with my opponent's elbows. Lucky me, I have the move a4, stopping b5. What else? Okay, there we see knight c6, something that I expected to see. What can I do? After knight c6, I recommended playing the move knight f3, just stopping knight d4. And there we see knight f6. So far so good, everything is moving accordingly, according to my plan. So the best you can do after knight f6 is to go knight c3 if you don't have moves. But in this particular position, I can even play something like pawn to e5. I remember covering something like this in my first tutorial video on the Bowdler attack. Yeah, whenever you have a chance to go e5, just play it to gain more central space. There's nothing wrong with that. But in this particular position, I can also play d3, having knight c3. So again, you see the importance of placing your queen on e2 just to stop the move pawn to d5, because you know what happens if d5, you just take. So sticking to my plan, okay, the problem with playing the move pawn to e5 immediately is that black can play d5 and you have to take the knight, and then they take the bishop, the light square bishop. So to avoid this kind of trade, you better play knight c3 just to be simple. Start with your two knights. I think this is what I recommended in my tutorial video, so that even if pawn to d5 comes, you can just take. With knight c3, at least I'm at liberty to go pawn to e5 next without having to worry about this, I guess, or whatever. Let's see what my opponent wants to do. Well, knight b4. Knight b4 is a strange move because it allows me to go pawn to d4 immediately. So I don't understand that. If need be, I would love to put my pawn on d5. Yep. Now this looks like the Scotch game if you think about it. So I take back with my knight. Again, there's no pawn to d5, I guess, due to pawn takes. Or maybe that's not much of a stretch. Black can still play d5 and I won't be able to do much. And now I guess this is when it makes sense for me to go e5, if you think about it. Because if pawn to d5, I'll just take and then threaten to take the bishop. Yeah, let me go pawn to e5. What else do I know? I'll be happy to take black's knight if it comes on d5. Just like I thought. So here I can even take with the knight. For one, I can double up black's pawns, just messing up the pawns on the center. Oh, the problem is if I take the knight, black has queen a5 check. And I'm going to lose my bishop tactically, even though that's still fine. So in this position, let me just provoke a weakness on the king side, asking for g6 so that black can create these dark square weaknesses. By the way, as you can see, I'm taking my time to make these moves because there is increment, 3 seconds increment, so I can do whatever I want. Again, why is my blitz rating so low? Well, I wouldn't say much. I can't say much. Check my bullet rating and you'll understand. I'm more of a bullet guy than a blitz guy. I love playing bullet chess all the time. If I want, I can get back to 2500 if I just, stop whatever I do on YouTube and focus on playing chess entirely. Like now I can take on d5. I love throwing up games, especially if my opponent doesn't do what I expected to see for my YouTube videos. So let me just simplify the game. Okay, now we see king takes f8. I was expecting my opponent was going to take with a rook anyway, so let me go queen h6, given a chance. So the Bowdler attack is an opening worth trying. You'll never go wrong with it. In this position, I wouldn't mind to sacrifice my h-pawn on h5. Okay. Like for black to play the move h5 themselves. I think now I can lift my rook in an effort to put it on either g3 or f3, threatening to take on f7. Wow. I'm taking coffee. By the way, can you guys imagine? It's 5 a.m. in my country. And this is the first thing I decided to do. Playing a game of chess, recording, live streaming. Who am I? What do I do for a living? This looks good, tactically speaking. Just to break open the king side and go in with my... Yep, like knight f5 check after pawn takes, I go in with my rook. Yep. So these are kinds of moves that differentiate most advanced players from intermediate level players, for lack of better terms, or for lack of a better word. Not to say that I underrate my opponent. I don't know what their peak rating is, so I'm saying this with all the respect in the world. So next I want to go queen f6 check. This should be over after rook g7 and pawn takes. Oh, wait a second. I don't have that, but I think I can just play queen h6 next, or maybe rook h7, then checkmate. Yep. So if pawn to d6, I have this forced mating sequence. Wow. So this is clearly a mate. 5+3 rated blitz match. Most of the times I play casual games with this account, especially when I'm playing blitz for YouTube. So I don't really care about improving my blitz rating on the chess. My favorite is bullet. I play bullet all the time. When I'm walking, when I'm in the bathroom, or when I'm bored. wherever I am. Yeah, so this is game over, you guys. So I guess you had a good time. Oh, let me play the second game. Last kicks of a dying horse. Yep. Now, time for you to go and check out my new E5 defense course, which I have also linked in the comment section down below. And I'm glad to say, so far it has received a lot of attention and people are getting it like crazy. So it's an opening response that you try against White's E4 opening. You're going to learn how to play against the Scotch, the Royal Pace, the Bishop's opening, 3 Knights opening, the 4 Knights game, the Vienna game, even the Italian game. So it's the complete E5 defense course that I just launched with my team. You better go and check it out. Thank you so much for watching this video. Until next time, have a wonderful day. Bye bye.